Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Dreena here, and we have something new today. Short story, I just started making my own little energy bars. So I decided to share them with you. Now, I am going to get the recipe on my blog. I don't have the recipe like fully formatted yet, but sign up for my newsletter. Did I put that link below? Darn, I didn't. I always forget that. Or no, I think I did. I think it's in the description, but I will put it in the chat here now. Hello, everyone joining in. And I'll put it in the chat. And that way you guys can sign up for it. So today's video is brought to you by Dreena's Kind Kitchen. And I have the winner from last video, which was, what was that video? It was the potato dish, I think, the potato and broccoli dish. And the winner is Barbara Garcia. Congratulations, Barbara. I have messaged you on YouTube and just need to hear from you by email. So you can email me. Hello, Joanne from Florida. Is it hot there? It must be hot there now, right? I imagine. So today we will do another draw for Dreena's Kind Kitchen. Or if you already have it, Plant Powered Families, whatever works for you. And we'll draw another winner, okay? So today I'm doing these. Let's show them to you. Let's make them look a little nicer, just so you can see them. There. Okay, I'm showing you how to make these energy bars, protein bars. My dishwasher is gonna beep. It's just gonna keep beeping. I have to open it a bit so it won't beep, but then I keep closing it accidentally with my knees or my hips. You're used to warm weather. Yes, you must be. Hello, Kathleen from Northern Virginia. Hello. So nice to see people joining in from different parts of North America. And maybe some people are going to join in from outside of North America. We'll see. So these are these little energy bars. And I decided to make these, again, you could call them protein bars, you could call them energy bars, snack bars. So here's the dealio. I don't think I've ever said Dealio before. Here's the Dealio. So I've talked to you guys before about pea protein and how I showed up like very sensitive to it. Food testing, it's come down. So it's like more of a mild sensitivity now, whereas before it was really high. And that's just because I've been avoiding it for so long now. And it also is involved with like gut health, right? So if your gut health is more in check, then you're less prone to developing these food sensitivities. But I think the problem occurs when these ingredients are kind of like woven into a lot of foods and we aren't really aware of it. And that's big time the case for pea protein. And so if you're fine with it, like that's great. I don't have like, I'm not saying it's a nasty, bad ingredient. It's just that it's in a lot of foods. And for some people, they're sensitive to legumes and they're not able to eat legumes or perhaps peas, and then it's kind of in everything. So I did a post on Facebook about this just before we went to Soyuz Interior, BC last week. And if you didn't catch my video, hop over and look at it. It's about packing food for the trip. And I posted about pea protein, and a lot of people were like, yes, like it's in everything and I can't eat it. And it's fun. It's, challenge for me because if you look at ingredients, it's in yogurts, non-dairy yogurts, it's in non-dairy milks, it's in ice creams. Like I bought some ice cream bars when we were in Soyuz, like non-dairy ones. And I didn't think to look at the ingredients because I knew they were vegan and I was just like, I'll buy them. And then when I got back and looked, I was like, pea protein, like why is it in an ice cream bar, right? So I understand if it's in a protein bar or a protein food like marketed to vegans. So like say a vegan burger or sausage or something like that. But when it's in all these other foods, it becomes like a tricky thing for us as consumers because we don't always know it's there. And then we may have sensitivities. Okay, so that's the long story. And then the shorter story is I was looking for some bars. Now, I've loved Midday Squares, right? For like well over a year. Actually, that was the bar that I first tried when I was sensitive to pea protein and I was looking for a bar or a snack, like a treat that didn't have it. That was the bar that I found. It was Midday Squares. They've changed their packaging. So there's one square now. There used to be like 2 in a package. Now it's 1. The price is different. But they've also changed the formulation. And now they have fava bean protein and pea protein. So it's a little unfortunate for me. Like, I still think they're an amazing bar. My husband's probably very happy because he gets them all. He gets all the Midday Squares. So then I was like, okay, shoot, I'm just going to develop my own. So that's kind of what happened. Now, if you do want to buy Midday Squares, they are still amazing, delicious. They're made with fair trade chocolate, like really nice bar. There's a link below and you can get 15% off. Use my name in full caps. But I'm going to show you how to make something yourself. Okay. All right, let's get to it. So I'll move my stuff out of the way. And just see if there's any. Hi from Ohio. Hello, Kathy. So I hope I answered your question, Kathy, about the pea protein. I don't want it to, I probably should have changed the title because I said no pea protein bars, like it's like this bad ingredient. But I just kind of wanted to communicate that that's what I was doing. So I might change that title after. It's nothing inherently bad with it, but I think it's overused as a way to make a product look like it has a different nutritional profile. So the nutritional profile would be less in protein if they didn't add it. So they added just to bump up the protein when it's probably not necessary. Like, we don't always buy a non-dairy yogurt so that it's high in protein, right? You get what I mean? And then also it's used as a filler sometimes, like maybe in ice creams. So that's my problem with it, not the fact that it's pea protein, like that it comes from peas. And I think perhaps also sometimes if an isolate is used, that might cause the sensitivity issue too. I'm not quite sure. I'm going to start incorporating like whole peas back into my diet and see how I do. And yeah, Joanne says it's the newest cheap protein. It's also emerging as a new food allergen, pea protein, unfortunately. And I think that's why. And so again, like, if it's not a problem for you, then it's fine. But it is for a lot of people. And it's just unfortunate that, like, in vegan foods, you know, we want sometimes these fun foods, convenience foods like yogurts, ice cream. But even non-dairy milks, it's in a lot of non-dairy milks. Like, it's surprising. There's like macadamia milk that has pea protein in it. It's like, why does it have pea protein in a macadamia milk, right? But it's obviously to make the protein look more than it is. Well, it is once you add the pea protein, but if you didn't, it would be lower in protein. Okay, so let's get started. Enough chitty chat from me. We are going to get this rolling. So we're using a food processor and 1 cup of dates. So there's no added sweetener in this, just dates. I had dates that were really dry. So I soaked mine and then I drained them off, and I did a few batches because I was testing this recipe. So I did like 3 batches, and then I had enough to test it out. So these are nice and soft now because I soaked them. So if you have ones that are kind of dry, and you know, when you pull them out of the bag or the container, they're not pliable and they're not moist, then you may want to soak them. Okay, we've got some pumpkin seeds and a little bit of salt. We need a cup of oats, which I did not measure out yet. And I'm going to give you lots of variations on this recipe once I put it on my site. So for instance, to make these an option as a protein bar, you know, I always hesitate to use the word protein bar because, like, protein is in our foods naturally as vegans, right? It's in oats, right? It's in potatoes even, and people think potatoes are like just a carb. No, it has protein in it too. So I often like hesitate to use that label when I blog or post about it on social. But the truth is, people do want sometimes to have something that's a little higher in protein, and they look for it. So in this bar, I'm using peanut butter protein, and not peanut butter protein, peanut butter powder, and pumpkin seed powder, okay, which I have the links for below, and I'm not affiliated with the brand, but just so you can check them out on Amazon. And if you don't want to use those powders, when I blog this recipe, I'm going to have options where you just use seeds, just use oats. Okay, I'm going to give you both options. And I'm also going to give you a nut-free option because I tested these out with black sesame seed paste, like tahini made with black sesame seeds. Delicious. Honestly, delicious. And like sometimes tahini comes across as like, I don't know, like not appealing in things like baked goods or a bar like this, but they were amazing. So here we go. I'm talking so much. We got to get this in here. So we've got the oats, and now this is the peanut butter powder. So a lot of you guys know about the peanut butter powder, right? You can get it online. It's like buy organic, and it's just I don't know how they do, but it's peanut butter powder. And I think it's like lower in fat as well for people who want to reduce the fat. And then similarly, pumpkin seed powder. So I love pumpkin seeds. I use them a lot. I love them. And this is a nice like option to pea protein, I think, because this is high in protein and it's a good option. It's not in, I haven't seen it in any foods. I found it online and I really like it. And I probably have to give credit to Sarah Wise for this because she's one of like my longtime readers and recipe testers. And her family has like a lot of allergies and they're vegan and they have nut allergies. And I think they also maybe have some legume allergies. I'm not sure, but they definitely have nut allergies. So she's always used pumpkin seeds and pumpkin seed products. And she mentioned a pumpkin seed powder to me once. And so that's what got me onto this. Also the Mythical Cheesecake that's in Dreena's Kind Kitchen, which I have to show that to you now that I'm talking about it. I'll get back on topic, I promise. I do this all the time. The Mythical Cheesecake, that one. So that cheesecake, if you have the book and you've looked at it, you know it's oil-free and it's also nut-free. So I made that recipe. I really had her in mind when I made that recipe because I know that like how much she has those challenges with her. She's 3 kids, right? And she loves that recipe. So people who also like, sometimes I get complaints about the use of coconut in my recipes. And the reason I've used it is to offer nut-free options. I'm not trying to like piss people off about coconut, but somehow it does. Anyways, you cannot please everyone, right? I know that. So, but that is nut-free, oil-free. And she's the one who kind of now I'm back on track. She's the one who got me into the idea of using pumpkin seed powder. So it's got a nice like light green color. And the aroma is kind of like a little seedy nutty. It's not like strong. I'd say if you had hemp seed powder, it would be much stronger. I find hemp has a really grassy taste and you can't use too much of it, but pumpkin is earthier, right? It has a nicer flavor. So I'm going to get that in there and cocoa powder and some peanut butter. So this is straight up peanut butter. You could use cashew butter. And I will also have, I'm here searching for a knife. I will also have a nut-free option when I get these on the blog. So sign up for my newsletter so you'll get the recipe when it goes live. And that's it. And then vanilla. Oh, I missed one date. Let's get you in there. And I use a lot of vanilla in this. And so another little story. I was going to teach yoga one day and the gal who helps us out in the studio traveled to Mexico and had this Mexican vanilla and brought it back for me. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. So she gave me this full bottle of pure vanilla from Mexico. And it smells, oh my God, I could smell it all day. It's so divine. So I'm using, it's close to a tablespoon because I really love that vanilla essence to come through. It's so good. It's so intoxicating. Seriously, it could just be perfume. Like just dab the vanilla on. Should I do it? Let's do it. A little vanilla. That's better than perfume. So I'm going to bring this back to her, I think, because I want to give back to her a little bit for giving me the vanilla. So, and it's a huge bottle. So the vanilla, go for it. I used at least 2.5 teaspoons, like close to a tablespoon. All right. And all we do is give this a good whirl around. So this is going to be noisy and boring for a moment or so. So bear with me. Go get a tea, some chocolate. Here we go. TV right there. That's how I roll. You can start to see it. It's when it starts to like clump. It starts to get a little clumpy on the blade. So you've got to wait for it to start to get a bit clumpy on the blade. It's when like the fats start to come out of the nut butter and come together with the dates. So you just give it another minute, right? So let's go again. There we go. Now it's coming together. I can see the change in the texture. So it takes like a minute or two, right? There we go. So it takes a minute or two. You have to just let the processor do the work with it because it has to get sticky, right? And so it depends on like how sticky, like if your nut butter is denser or a little more fluid, like all those things affect it. And if you really are like getting frustrated with it, you could give it just another dash of vanilla, like just a dash. And that usually helps bring it together too. So like, let's just see. Yeah, good. So I didn't want to use too many dates in this because sometimes I find these like energy bars are just really too datey, like too sweet, kind of like a Lara bar, right? I mean, I like Lara bars, and the family has loved them for years, but they're very like there's a lot of dates to me for something that if you want it to be more like a protein bar, then you probably want a little less of that, right? So you can see now I can form it. It presses together when it holds. And if you want it a little bit more, like a little bit less crumbly, you could add just a touch more peanut butter, and that would help as well. But this is good. Like this is the texture I usually get, and it just takes a minute or so to kind of shape it together, right? So you get it in a ball or just, in some mounds that are sticky, and then press it into a pan. So I line a pan with parchment. There we go. And this is just a little loaf pan, like to do banana bread or meatloaf or something like that. So it's just that small pan. Because I kind of like them a bit thicker. You could use like a brownie pan and then have them thinner, like more shallow. But I kind of like the size when you put it in this. And then you just want to press it down. And I'm going to use a spatula, and I'm also going to add, this is totally optional, and I don't normally make them with this, but if you want a little bit of chocolate in there, then you could add some mini chips. You could use the nibble chocolate if you want. I forgot to mention that in the links. And the nibble chocolate would be oil-free as well. And just break it up or get the little nibbleitos and break them up. And just press it down, make it kind of even. So a little silicone spatula helps do this, like it really helps even it out. And I like to put parchment in it because then after, to release the bars, all you have to do is lift the parchment up.
and it helps to release the bars. So just evening this out best I can. And the more you press it into the pan, also, the more they will stick together. That little bit of crumbly texture that was in the processor, you get rid of it by just pressing it firmly into the pan, right? So there we go. That's our bars. So you can cut these whatever shape you want, right? You could cut them like bars, maybe make 1, 2, 3, maybe make like 6 or 8 bars, or you can make squares like I made here. And these are the ones that I did with the black sesame paste, sesame seed paste. And that's why they have like a darker color. They look almost like black in color. They're not just chocolatey, they look darker. And that's why, because I used that sesame seed paste, tahini that was black. So that's kind of cool. So you can see the difference in the color. Or maybe you can. Let's just lift this and see. Balancing act. Can you see the difference? Those are the chocolatey ones. Oh my gosh, I always do this backwards, like always. It's confusing. Chocolatey ones, sesame, black sesame seed ones. There. So that is that. I can still smell the vanilla. Oh yeah, that's because I put it on me. Of course I can still smell it because I did a little eau de vanilla. Eau de vanille? Eau de vanille? What's vanilla in French? It won't. Oh, it's not going to be French on here because it's not a Canadian product, of course. Honestly, guys, it's like the best smell. So that is how to make the little energy bars. I hope you make them. I realized I didn't give measures, did I? I didn't give measures, sorry. So I will get the recipe on my site. So make sure you sign up for my newsletter. And if you can't see the link in the description here, then just go over to my site, dreenaburton.com, and you can sign up there. You'll get the prompt to sign up. I think you'll get the prompt to sign up. Yes, you will. And that's easy peasy, okay? And then we have another winner for next week. So I want you to enter below a comment, not in the chat here. Like I love seeing your comments here in the chat, but I can't draw from the chat. So go to the comments after on YouTube and add a comment. And let me come up with a question. Let's see. Okay, how about, do you have a pea protein sensitivity? Yes or no? And if so, then are you excited to make the bars? Or are you just excited to make them anyways? Anything about the bars, just a comment, you know. I don't care. Just comment below. You can come up with a question for me, or you can tell me what your favorite snack bar is. How about that? Do you make snack bars? Do you buy snack bars? Which ones do you like? Maybe you have a recommendation for me for a store-bought bar that I don't know about that doesn't have it. Because the only other ones that don't have it are like Cliff bars that I know of, and I find those really, really sweet. So yeah, let me know. That's it. And I'm just going to have a little looky-loo of comments, see if there's any questions. Oh, do they? Joanne's saying most nuts have a powder option now. See, I didn't even know that. Like, is that maybe in the States? Do you see almond powder, hazelnut powder, cashew powder? Do you see that? I'm super curious about that. Jane says, can we use ground pumpkin seeds? I'm going to do the recipe with an option to use just pumpkin seeds altogether. So, and like sesame for nut allergies, or peanut butter with pumpkin seeds, that kind of thing. So for sure you can use other things like swap in pumpkin seeds, but you won't have to grind them in advance because that's like an extra step, right? Yeah, okay. All right, great. So no other questions. I think we're good. So yeah, I'll be back soon. Make sure you comment after on the YouTube channel in the comments. Subscribe on YouTube if you're not already, and also like the video. Yeah, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll have the recipe on the blog.